Good afternoon, Muskies. It's Friday, March 21st, 2014. I'm Connor Muldoon.
And I'm Amira Savani.
From the Xavier University Television Studio, this is Xavier News.
Russia's lower house of parliament voted 443-1 yesterday on annexing the peninsula of Crimea from the Ukraine. The decisions came after citizens of the Black Sea region voted to be part of the larger Russian Federation. However, protests from the Ukrainian government, other European countries, and the United States have scarred relations with Russia. Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov spoke to the House, saying that it was necessary to fold Crimea into Russia in order to protest ethnic Russians there. In response, the United States held sanctions against 20 Russian officials, as well as a bank in Russia. The heads of the European Union also stated they would press sanctions and travel bans against Russia. Turmoil around the annexation also has played a larger role. Ukrainian officials claim that the region has no power to be part of Russia and still lay claim to the area. This comes after protests of Russian troops moving in on Crimea after a change in the Ukrainian government earlier this year.
Here's an update on the search for the Malaysian airline plane that disappeared last week on a flight departing from Kuala Lumpur to Beijing. Notable debris was found off the coast of Australia in the Indian Ocean through a satellite drone image. This is currently the only lead on the missing plane, though many countries are helping out by sending planes to search the expanded areas. Search and rescue as well as military planes have been deployed over the debris. However, bad weather conditions have created challenges.
U.S. immigration authorities have been interviewing over 100 people assumed to be in the country illegally after they were discovered in a small house near Houston. The authorities say that they were in a stash house where smugglers hold illegal immigrants for ransom until family members pay for their passage. 5 men were also arrested for partaking in hostage-taking, weapons charges, and conspiracy to harbor illegal immigrants. Police were tipped off of the location after relatives of a mother and her 2 children went missing late Tuesday.
The founder of the Westboro Baptist Church in Kansas died Wednesday. 84-year-old Fred Phelps is said to have died from natural causes in a statement released by a church spokeswoman. Phelps founded the church in 1955 in Topeka as an anti-gay rights institution, believing that homosexuality is bad. The group has initiated several protests at public events, including military funerals.
Scientists in North and South Dakota have discovered a new species of dinosaur. Known as Anzu Wiley, researchers claim it to be bird-like, with a lizard-like tail and a bony crest on its head. Scientists say they have roughly 80% of the body and can make accurate inferences about its biology. The Anzu was roughly the size of a small car with claws and feathers. The most important discovery was the diversity of the dinosaur, having bird-like qualities, unlike many of the reptilian that existed during that age. We have a new segment with Drew Tanner on the newest music. Here is the HiFi Review.
Hello and welcome to the very first episode of my new music review show, HiFi Reviews. I'm your host, Drew Tanner. Today I'll be talking about Stereolithic, the latest album from reggae rock veterans 311. This album is a great throwback to the band's 2 career phases, reggae rock and rap rock. The album opens with Ebb and Flow, a strong track dealing with struggles, the ups and downs of life. It's a really great message that I think resonates with anyone who listens to it. It's something we can all relate to. It features 311's signature heavy reggae rock style with great bass and drumming. It's followed by 5 of Everything, the album's lead single. This is probably the best track on the album. It's got great riffs, philosophical lyrics, and duet vocals from singers Nick Hexum and S.A. Martinez. Sand Dollars features guitarist Tim Mahoney's famous wah reggae guitar tone and reminds me of some of the band's earlier reggae rock songs like Champagne and Amber. And the band experiments with some new genres on the album too, like metal on Showdown and Boom Shanka, and funk rock with Revelation of the Year, which reminds me of an early 90s Red Hot Chili Peppers song. Now, the album starts off very strong, but finishes weak. The album's weak point is definitely its last third, where all the songs run together and there's nothing too spectacular about any of them. But nonetheless, Stereolithic is a very strong comeback album for 311. I recommend it for your summer playlist. It's out now, so go pick it up in whatever format you buy music. That's it for this episode of HiFi Reviews. I'm Drew Tanner. Keep on rocking, Xavier.
Famous fashion designer, former model, and girlfriend of Mick Jagger, Lauren Scott, was found dead in her New York apartment earlier this week. It has been ruled an apparent suicide. No evidence of a note has been found. An official said that Scott's assistant found the designer hanging from a doorknob with a scarf around her neck. Well, that's all from this desk. Next is Allison with the Xavier Sports Report.
Good afternoon, Muskie fans, and welcome to another edition of the Xavier Sports Report. Well, March Madness seems to have turned into March Sadness for much of Cincinnati this week. Xavier and UC couldn't seem to pull out a single NCAA tournament win. The Musketeers, knocked out by NC State, couldn't seem to find momentum at any point in the game to take control. They trailed the Wolfpack by a couple points the majority of the game, but they could no longer hold them midway in the second. NC State ended up building a 17-point margin, ending the game with a 74-59 loss for Xavier. The questionable injured Matt Stainbrook, however, seemed to be one of the few that came to play. He led the team with 19 points and 9 rebounds, scoring the first 8 for Xavier. That loss now wraps up the season for the Muskies, and seniors Isaiah Fillmore, Eric Stanger, and Tim Whalen will be greatly missed. The men's baseball team also had a tough loss against a Big Ten Ohio State team this week. OSU scored 3 runs in the first 2 innings, and the Muskies couldn't seem to overcome that deficit. They did, however, have a charge in the 8th inning with Patrick Jones belting a 2-run double, cutting Xavier's loss by only 3. But OSU fired back with another 4 runs to close out the game 10-3. The Muskies hope to get their win streak back when they travel to Champaign, Illinois for a 4-game series this weekend. One Xavier team is still celebrating from a Big East win. The Xavier men's swim team brought home the school's first Big East championship last month. Here's Andrew Tanner for more.
It was a huge season for the Xavier men's swim team as the team captured its first conference championship, the school's first Big East championship in any sports. Chad Thompson led the team with wins in the 800 free relay, 200 IM, and 200 free relay, among others. He was named the Big East's most outstanding swimmer. Carter Clark added wins in the 200 medley relay and 100 breast. I sat down with Chad and Carter and asked them about the meet and what the win means for the program going forward.
We led off the meet in the 500 freestyle with going first through third in the events. with Nick Foster, Nick Schrader, and Arthur Smith. And then following that, we went 1-2 in the 200 individual medley, and then 1 through 4 in the 50 free.
Going into the meet, the team was confident in its ability against its storied rival programs.
It's what we train for all year, every single day. It's kind of what you have in the back of your head at the end of the year, that you're going to be able to reap the rewards at the Big East Championships.
And we all had our goal of not only succeeding individually, but succeeding as a team as well.
Both swimmers take pride in the win and anticipate the team's potential.
Going forward, the seniors really, and the captains, I should say, really sat down with the coaching staff and laid this blueprint out beginning of the year, wanting to put our mark on the Big East Conference from the first year we were part of it.
I'm looking forward to being able to be a captain myself. Our program is going to be hopefully a storied program in Xavier history with a tradition of excellence.
Head coach Brent McDonald echoes those sentiments.
I fully expect us to continue to get better. Those guys kind of got a glimpse and a taste of what it's like to be a championship team. So I fully expect our very young team to come back next year and be just as strong.
At O'Connor Sports Center, I'm Andrew Tanner for the Xavier Sports Report.
The women's tennis team improves to 11-3 after dominating a neighborly NKU rival. The majority of the matches were short and sweet for the girls, and they capped NKU with a 6-1 win, losing only 1 singles and 1 doubles match. Sydney Liggins also had one of her best this year and is now only one of 3 girls this season to have a singles 0-0 shutout for Xavier. Next, the ladies take on another rival, the Dayton Flyers, at home today at 6 p.m. Now, as for the men's tennis team, they fell a bit short this week against DePaul. Throughout the course of the afternoon, the Musketeers played extremely well but were unable to put the pressure on the Blue Demons come crunch time. Senior Messa May and sophomore Jeremy Schneider were the only 2 that were able to capture singles wins. The Muskies finished with a 5-2 loss against DePaul, which brings them to 8-8 overall. They too will take on Dayton this weekend and hope to start up another win streak. Well, that's it for another edition of the Xavier Sports Report. Good luck to our Xavier athletes this year. On behalf of everyone in the station, I'm Allison Martin. Have a good weekend.